Continuing the layout and the presentation of the floor plan for the Marion, you can see here that I've cleaned up a lot of the wall conditions to where they have been trimmed out and cleaned up in here. I've left a couple more left right here, so you can see how we ended up doing that. I like to use the trim command, and I select my walls and my lines, and I hit enter, and I can start cleaning up the walls that are in between. Here, let's see, we've got some additional ones in here. I hit enter, I can continue. I've got a couple additional ones in here. I'm going to repeat the trim command and continue here. Now, in addition to the walls, we've got a few elements that were instrumental in where our wall locations were going to be, such as this shelving that lined up with these walls in here, certain walls that were determined by the size of the opening that we would have in here, same thing over in here, and likewise located in here. We have been using a markup drawing of the Marion to see where all our walls are, where our exterior, interior walls are. Now we're going to be in the process of developing and drawing the locations for the doors, locations for appliances, bathroom fixtures, windows, etc. The way that we're going to do that is we're going to be installing and inserting elements called blocks. We have a file which contains all the blocks that we will be needing for the floor plan of the Marion. What you need to go is to go to the application icon. In your case, you're going to go open, and you're going to look for McFadder Marion blocks. It will be on the network server that is in the classroom. If I click that and open, what you can see is a series of elements here that range all the way from landscaping all the way to symbols and labels for identification labels for doors and windows. Now, all of these elements are already set in their own layer. If you look at that, it's L site plant. If we go down to the garage doors, it's located on A door. Same thing with swing doors or sliding glass doors. We also have bifold doors, and we have pocket doors. In addition to that, we have elevations for each one of the door types that we may be using, and we also have windows. If you look and click on them, you'll notice that the layer is called A Glazing. We have them both in elevation view for casements, double casements, sliders, fixed picture windows. We have double hung windows, and we have single hung windows over in here. Now, we are going to be using one standard floor plan or plan layout for the windows, even though in reality each one of these would be seen a little bit differently. Again, because we're presenting this in a 1/4 inch, we're going to simplify, just have one window type that is shown. There's going to be singles in here and doubles in here, and this symbol will represent any one of these window types that we have. Now, when you click on this, you can notice that it is all one element together. This is a block. That means that they are all tied in together, and they can be inserted in the drawing. There are a couple of ways that we can do this project. We can click on any one that we want to insert individually. We could right click. We're going to go to clipboard, and we could do copy. Now when we go back to our drawing in here, we can come in, we can right click, clipboard, and paste. And our window comes in, and notice that it comes in already in the proper layer for us to put into our walls. What I like to do in this case is to bring all of them in as one complete selection. So I'm going to go back to the McFadder Marion blocks file. I'm going to go ahead and select all with a crossing selection. And I'm going to right click, clipboard, copy. I'm going to go back to my Marion drawing, and instead of just pasting one, what happens now is I clipboard, I paste, all of the blocks that I have. I'm going to be eliminating the ones that I don't need later on. But as you can see, each one has come back in individually as a door or a window or a plumbing fixture or an appliance, and it is now in its proper layer. They have been assigned line weights already. If you look inside the doors, you may even have different line weights, even though it is in the A door layer, which has a specific, you open up layer properties, you see that the A door layer has a specific line weight and line type. The block itself may have nested lines inside of it that may be a different color or a different line weight, and a good example is right here. You can tell that some of the lines in here may be a different line weight, which are thinner. They're definitely a different color, and they are a different line type. So you can vary that by modifying each one of the lines within the block. So what we can do is we can begin to place all of the elements that we need on our drawing. So let's begin. What I would do is I begin by just using the copy command, and let's find out what the size of some of these are first. Let's go ahead, and if we double click on this, you can see that we get an edit block definition. This one tells us that this is a 3/0 door, swing door. I'm going to do OK to that. And this would have opened up the editor for the door where we can change some of the attributes for it. We're not going to do that. We're just going to close out of it. We're going to discard the changes onto there. So the next door in here, we click on it and we go to properties. You can see that the name down here on the miscellaneous says it's a 2/8 door. Then we have 2/6, 2/4, 2/0, and 1/6 over in here. These doors in here are double doors. We can also highlight it and go to the properties, and here you see that it's a 2/2/8 door. The next one will be 2/2/6. We can take a look at that in here on the properties, and so on. One of the things that we have listed in our markups of the Marion is that we have some information located down at the bottom. It gives you some information about some of the dimensions that we want to do. When we place doors, we want to place 3 inches on each side for door casing. Our countertops are to be 2 feet deep. We want to remove room size values from the drawings. Shelves and closets shall be 1 foot deep. And let's see what additional information we have in here. What we have listed on each one of the doors in here, we have listed with the number 2 and 0 on there. That represents a 2'0" door. Here would be 2/8 doors, which is standard going into the bedrooms. The doors going into the master shall be 2'4". It's a double door in here. There's a 2'4" door, and we're going to go around. We're going to be able to lay them out accordingly based on what this drawing shows. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in close enough so that when I'm going back and forth, I can see what size doors we're going to put. Most bathrooms will have a 2'6" door. As I mentioned before, bedrooms will have 2'8". So going back to the drawing itself, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to begin by copying this door from here, and I'm going to begin to bring it into a couple of the locations that we have. Now these doors that we're placing in here are being placed inside of a frame wall. These are stud frame walls. So the jambs of the doors, which are these things located in here, are going to end up within the wall itself. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to move this wall, this door, and I'm going to move it right to here, and as you can see, it's located within the walls. The unfortunate thing though is that it's facing the incorrect way. I want it to swing in this direction. So I'm going to go ahead and use my mirror command. I'm going to select the midpoint here. I'm going to put on my ortho, have it swing here, and in this case I'm going to click yes to erase the source object, and there I go. Now I could go back all the way over to here, or I can try placing all the 2/8 doors where I feel they go. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to copy again. I'm going to copy this one in here, and I'm going to click that and place it right here. On this one, I want to mirror it around so that the door itself, when open, is against this wall. So I'm going to use the mirror command. I'm going to select there. I need to select the midpoint between these two to get my mirror line started. I'm going to go from here this way, and once again I'm going to erase the door here. I'm going to place some doors into this bathroom in here, and I'm also going to place a couple of doors into this bathroom as is asked for. In here we've got two 2-6 doors, and we have another 2-6 door going into this area that has the toilet and the tub. So I'm going to go back up in here. I'm going to select my 2-6 door. Now again, if I'm not sure what it is, if that's 2-6 or something, I can go to the properties for that door, and there it shows me that it's a 2-6 door. I'm going to go ahead and right click. I can go by recent input, copy. I'm going to select that door, select it from that point, and I'm going to place it in this wall. Now if you notice, I have not cut that wall yet. So what I'm going to do is place it first. And then I'm going to go to my A wall interior layer, and I'm going to draw a line from here down to here. Repeat the command and draw a line from here to here, and then I want to trim this part out. So I'm going to use the trim command. I'm going to select that, those two elements as my cutting elements, across selection, and put that door right in there. Now for now, I think I'm pretty pleased with that location. Until I lay out my vanity and my toilet in the powder room, I may not know exactly the way that it's going to be. One of the concerns here is that you can look right in here from the entry into the powder room bathroom. So maybe the best bet is to move the door over to this side and reverse the swing of the door. Now that does not correspond with this layout, but in our previous video we had talked about that this is actually wider in this direction than it is, so it may benefit us if we have the toilet and the vanity up against this back wall. So once again, I'm going to go to the mirror command here. I'm going to select that door, and I am going to shift click and find that mirror. I am going to erase it, yes. And this time I'm going to go ahead and move the door over to the other wall. I'm going to use a stretch crossing command in here, a stretch command with a crossing selection, and I'm going to shift that and move it over to here. And that places that door into that bathroom in there. I've got a couple of more doors to place in here, so I'm going to use the copy command. I'm going to select, repeat copy, I'm going to select that door. I'm going to bring that door selection in here. I'm going to hit it right on that wall for now, and I'm going to rotate my wall or my door this way, move it up to where I want it in its location up in here, and once again I think I want this door to flip the other way. So I'm going to use the mirror command. I'm going to use mid between these 2 points right here and flip it in that direction, and yes, I want to erase the source object. Go back to my A wall interior line work, draw a line here and here, escape out of this, and let's go back to the line command again, go from here to here, and then I can trim, and I will use those two elements as my trimming elements, and there I have that door this way. Now I can mirror that whole thing, including these elements that I've created, over to the other side, and I can mirror them right around here. So I'm going to mirror. I'm going to select everything in this selection, go to the midpoint, my snap is on, I can mirror it this way, erase source object. This time we're going to go no, because I want to keep that door too. can go to my trim command and trim this out of the way in there. So I'm going to be constantly saving my drawing to make sure that I'm not losing anything important. So at this point I've got a door's going into here. I need another door going down to here. That's also going to be 2, 6. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this door. I'm going to find this point right into there, and I'm going to place it somewhere here, and I'm going to move it over eventually. So I am going to go back to one of my recent inputs, which is mirror, and I'm going to use a point right in here. I do want to erase that door, and now I can trim. This out of the way here, and I will complete that door by drawing the lines here and repeating the line work and drawing it here. And then I'm going to stretch this and bring it closer to the wall in there. I'll use the stretch command with a crossing selection and move it over in here. And there I have those doors going into this bathroom. Let's continue with some of the doors that we have to put in. And as you noticed, in some of these instances, I'm able to move them later on. Let's look at our plan in here, and it shows that we have a 2-0 door going into this linen closet. We have a 4-0 door, bifold, double bifold door going into this room, into this closet, and also going into this closet. Let's go back. And let's see if we have a 4-foot bifold. We may not have a 4-foot double bifold, but let's see what we have available. We have a 5-footer. I think we have a 6-footer. We have an 8-footer. We do have a single 4-footer in here. So one of the things I would need to do is to create another block, which is going to be a 4-foot double bifold, so we can fulfill the requirements that we have here and here. In the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and continue putting doors all the way through these areas in here, and we'll come back at the end. We will create another block and bring it into our drawing that has the mixed matter blocks. So let's go ahead and let's go back to our Marion drawing, and we can take a look at some additional doors that we need to do. We have a toilet enclosure right in here where we want to use a 2-6 door. So let's copy this, and I'm going to copy it together with those A-wall interior lines that we did in there, and I can bring this up to the same point right in here. Use my trim command, and I can get rid of these 2 lines that are located right there. According to the layout here, looks like we have a 2'4" door also going into the closets. We have 2 2-0 doors going here and 2 2-4 doors going here. Let's go ahead and let's start with the 2 2-4 doors going into here. So let's go ahead and we can either select it and find out the information from the property, or we can actually just do a quick measure and find out where the 2 2-0 doors would be a 4-foot dimension. Now that one is 4'8". Let's take a measurement here and see what we have in here. So for this one we have the 4 foot, so that is the one that we're going to want to use. I can right click, go to recent input, go to copy. I'm going to select that point. And if you notice the point that it is on the block, it's going to be this one, and I'm going to rotate it out this way. So let's go ahead and rotate our block and our door. We're going to rotate it till it's flush at that point like that. And let's verify that the door is swinging in the right direction, which is out. So that is good for that door. Let's go back to here. We've got that door. We have all of these doors in here. We've got 2 closet doors that we're going to be getting later. So let's go back and let's place are two 2-4 doors that are going to go into our master bedroom right in here. If we go back to our double doors, let's take a look, and let's take a measurement, and you can do distance or measure in this case. And I think the door we want is going to be this one in here, so I am going to go to the recent input copy. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and grab it by here, bring it to our wall, and I'm going to place it right here. Now the problem with this is that it's kind of a unique angle that we have to locate it to. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and move it a little bit further down, maybe to about here. And I'm going to rotate this door now. The best command for that when you're using rotate is go ahead and select rotate, select the object you want to rotate, and it asks you for a base point for rotation. I'm going to select this corner, and then it specifies the rotation angle. You have some other options in here. One of them is reference. So that's the one that we want to use. We want to use reference. So it says specify the reference angle. The reference angle is the existing angle of the door, which when placed was directly to the left into here. So I'm going to select here, which will select the reference angle, and then it asks me to move it to the new angle. So I'm going to move it right into here, and my door is placed exactly along that wall. Now, I will eventually, if I wanted to do this perfectly, I could locate that door perfectly centered on the outside of the wall, or I might want it centered on the inside of the wall. I'm going to go ahead right now and just visualize it here and place it just like that. I'm going to go ahead and get this thing ready to trim, so I'm going to go ahead and draw my lines here with my A-wall interior line work into there, and then I'm going to go and trim using those two lines that I've drawn, and I'm going to get that out of the way. Now I need a 2'4" door going into here, and let's see what size door we have going into this closet by rechecking the PDF. That is a 2.0 door, and our 2'4" door is here. So let's go ahead and go back to our blocks, and let's find the 2.0 door. This one is going to be our 2'0" door. There's the information there. And the one next to it is going to be our 2'4" door. So I'm going to go ahead and recent input, go to copy once again. I'm just going to bring both of them in close right now, move them to the area, and then move them accordingly. I'm going to go ahead, in this case, I'm going to go ahead and rotate this one first this way, because I know that's going to be going right here. And I'm going to move it, snap from a point anywhere on the jamb in here, and bring it somewhere close to where I want it, which may be somewhere right around there, onto there, centered right in there. I'm going to do my line work, which will complete this and get it ready for trimming. Go to the trim. I can select everything that I want to and go ahead and trim that out with my 2.0 door. Now I'm going to go ahead and put my 2'4" door there. I'm going to check, double check again which way it opens. It opens out in that direction. So I'm going to go back to it. This time I'm also going to rotate this door so it faces that, but I'm going to go ahead and mirror it first. This direction, yes, I want to erase it. And this time I want to make sure that I do center it perfectly, so I'm going to go in here, find my center snap point right in here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to move my wall from the center of I'm going to move my door from the center of the door and locate it right here, which would be in the center of the closet. So I'm going to use the move command, select here. The base point I'm going to select is the midpoint between these two, and I'm going to move it to this point in here. I can delete this line right here, and since I'm still in the A-wall interior layer, I'm going to go ahead and draw my two lines in here. Go to the trim command and trim that out in there. So far I've developed almost all of my doors that are required over in here. Now this is going to be a shower. We're going to end up doing that a little bit later to what we need, as well as putting information regarding the fireplace in here. Now let's take a look at what we have here for this linen closet and for this door right here. So we have a 2/6 door into that linen closet, and we have a 2/0 door going into here. So let's take a look at what we have in here. Let's double check something. Let's make sure our distance in here allows for a 2/6 door. I'm going to take a measurement from here to here. Looks like we have 3'4", so that's plenty of room, but I think a 2/6 door might be overkill. I'm going to go ahead and modify that to a 2'4" door, which would be this one here. So I can recent input copy. I'm going to select that door, bring it into here. I'm going to rotate it so that we can set it up on the wall itself. I'm going to put my ortho on, and I'm going to double check once again on which way the door swing goes. Take a look at my door. That is correct the way I want it, and again I want to center it on this wall, on the interior of it. So I'm going to move it, and my base point is mid between these 2 points, and it's going to be the midpoint here. I'm going to go ahead and draw my lines. I just made a little error there, so I'm going to undo and snap to the right point. Repeat my line work to here, and I am going to use the trim command. Trim that out. I can use the 2'4" door again. So let's measure this and make sure a 2'4" door is going to go in there. I got about 2'8", which is a little bit tight. So I'm going to go ahead and use a 2' door at that point. I'm going to go recent input. I'm going to copy. Here's my 2' door. Bring it in from here. And I'm going to locate that somewhere right in here. Now, if I think I could put a 2' door, I could do that. I may have to mirror this around. Let's look at the way they have it swinging. It is reversed, so I'm going to go ahead and mirror it. So I'm going to mirror this. Let's say I'm just going to mirror it for now, right from the middle of that wall this way. And yes, I'm going to erase the source object. Draw my lines to indicate that there is a wall opening at that point. Use the trim command here, and I've got those doors located for that. Once again, we're waiting a little bit here for the bringing in of a new block, or the creation of a new 4-foot block for the double bifolds. And let's go ahead and bring this door once again over in here. We will copy that door, and we're going to use it to specify the base point is the mid between these 2 points. And we're going to bring it right to that point. So let's go ahead and lay out our line work. And here we're still in the A-wall interior. Repeat line. Whoops. Specify the base point here and here. And then I can do the trim command. Now, one of the requisites that I indicated here was to leave 3 inches on both sides of the door. And if you take a look at our condition in here, this is a closet where I only end up having 2 inches available here. Now I could increase, I could stretch this door over about 4 inches, and that'll give me the additional room. So let's go ahead and let's do that. So I'm going to use the stretch with a crossing selection. I'm going to go right across this point, and I'm going to come across 2 inches this way. And then what I'm going to do is do the stretch crossing again here, remove this element from it, and let's see what happens at that point. I'm going to use stretch. I'm going to use a crossing selection right across here, and I'm going to move the door over 1 inch, and we've got our condition working right in here with at least some additional room available here for placing the water heater, which will be located in here. Let's continue around. I think we've got all our doors that we wanted into these spaces for now, once again with that exception. So let's work our way over to here. Let's take a look at our drawing and let's see what we've got happening over in this area right here. If you notice, we have, going from the garage to the laundry room, we have a 3-foot door. We also have one coming out of the laundry into the kitchen, which is 3 feet. And we do that because it makes it a little bit easier to bring the washer and dryer and the appliances in through there. We also have a door here going to the exterior, which is a 3-foot door, but I'm going to show you the difference later on how the door gets inserted into an exterior block wall as opposed to an interior frame wall. So let's go ahead and put these two 3.0 doors, and let's put two 8 doors over in here, and then we'll look at the broom closet in here and see what we can use for that. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to open up my drawing again, and I've already got a couple of 2.8 doors located in here that I can bring across this way. So I'm going to use the copy command, and I'm going to select a point here and bring this door to this point. I'm going to copy it up to here, and I'm going to rotate this door this way. I'm going to check my drawing again. Looks like that door pulls against this wall and this one rotates this way. So let's see what I have to do to correct this one. This one definitely has to be mirrored. So I'm going to mirror my door for now, and I haven't trimmed anything yet, so I can place it. I'll erase the one that I've got there, and I'm going to bring this one and bring it out over to here, leaving at least 3 inches into there. I'm going to complete my line work here. Repeat the line on the other side, and use the trim command, and I'm going to get that one, the opening from there going in. Let's go ahead and let's move this one. Now, the opening already existed for that one because we needed to know exactly where this door would end so we could leave the 3-inch casing before we located this door right here. Now let's look at the pantry and see what we've got. We're going to go to our PDF file. We're using a 2.0 door there. Let's open up our drawing in there. Let's go ahead and copy. This is a 2.0 door in here. I'm going to copy it. Bring it over to here. Rotate it so it's in correct alignment with the wall. Let's see which way the door swing is going to go. So the door swing, actually it's a bifold door. So let's correct that. It's a single bifold. I'm going to go ahead and delete this one. And I'm going to go back to my blocks, and I'm going to look for a single 2.0 bifold. Let me see if that's the size that they request. Go back to here, and it looks like it's a 2.0. That is correct. And let's do a size in here for our single bifolds. Let's see what the size of this one is. The opening would be 3 feet. Repeat the measurement, which is distance in this case. It looks like the one we're going to use is this one right here. So I'm going to copy that bifold door over to here. Once again, rotate it to align it with the wall. Turn on my ortho, and I'm going to move it from this point to a point in there, and it looks like it's almost perfectly centered. Go to the line command. Go ahead and draw another line in here, and then I'm going to go to the trim and select that and that, and trim out the wall located right here. Now we talked about the two 3.0 doors that were going here. Let's look at their swing. They swing into the room in both instances. So this time I'm going to go and find the 3.0 door, which is this one on the end. I can always do a measurement to verify, or go to the properties and verify. So I'm going to copy copy it from a point here and place it on this wall right now, and I'm going to place it on this wall right now. Now if you noticed, I placed it incorrectly. I wanted inside the wall, so I'm going to go ahead and move this one from there down to here. I'd move both of them at the same time. I want this door swinging in, so I am going to have to mirror it. So let's select that door from the midpoint here. We're going to first mirror it in this direction. We are going to erase the old one, and then we're going to repeat the mirror command. And this time we have to mirror it between these 2 points, and we are going to mirror it in this direction, and once again erase the source object. I'm going to go ahead and draw my lines here. I'm going to repeat the command of the line work right here. Use the trim command. And I'm going to use the stretch command with the crossing selection and move this to about 3 inches off of the wall into there. This one I need to mirror in so it swings against the wall. So I'm going to use mid between 2 points in here. I really did not because I hadn't trimmed anything yet. I am going to erase the original one. I'm going to draw lines in here. Trim. And stretch with the crossing selection to go over to about here. Now so far all the doors that we've been placing have been placed inside of frame walls. I think we have a couple of wall doors still missing that I had mentioned before, but any of the doors that are still missing are typically outside doors. Let's take a look at this one. This is going to be our broom closet. I want to check my measurement inside because I want to switch this to a 2-0 door. This is 2-4. I want to make this just a little bit bigger. I'm going to make this about another 4 inches bigger in here. I think that'll still, since I have not included 2 closets here, which is a variation on the layout that they have. I only want 1 broom closet and combine it with the linen closet. I think I'll still have more than enough room for the washer, the dryer, and a laundry tub to be located in there. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to measure this again. And it's 2/8. Let's just go ahead and use the stretch crossing selection. And I'm going to make that 3 foot inside. So I'm going to stretch it 4 more inches. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use a 2 foot 6 door located in here. I know my bathroom doors are 2 foot 6. So I'm going to go ahead and select it. Bring it over. I'm going to rotate it so it aligns. Put my ortho back in. I'm going to mirror it so that it opens in the direction I want. I'm going to erase the source object. And now I'm going to go ahead and place this door. I'm going to choose the midpoint between the 2 jambs of the door and place it right in the middle of the closet, right there, like that. Draw my lines here. Repeat the command on the other side. Trim. Now when you see something like this, it doesn't bother me that much because this door into that broom closet, it's going to be closed 90% of the time, if not almost 100% of the time. And I can leave these 2 doors located right here. So let's talk about exterior doors or placing doors on the exterior. In this case, I'm going to go back and take a look at our drawing. And our drawing shows a 3-0 door going in here and a 3-0 door here. The garage door is here. We're actually going to move it to the front. And if you look in the back of the house, we have a 12 foot by 6/8 slider. And here we have another 3-0 door back here. So let's go ahead and let's select our 3/0 doors. I know this is a 3/0 door. We talked about that before. But watch what happens when we have to place that on an exterior wall. This is a masonry wall. Our jambs right here for the doors in a frame wall are actually part of the framing of the wall. In a masonry wall, it can't happen. So it cannot actually be put inside of the wall. So a 3-foot door, in this case we have 2-inch jambs on each side. So if it's a 3-foot door with 2 inches on each side, we need to create an opening that's going to be 3 foot 4 inches. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to change to my A wall exterior. I'm going to locate a midpoint here. And I'm going to offset this for our door and our jambs. So if I had a 3-foot door and 2 inches of jamb in each side, I would move 1 foot 6 this direction and then 2, which makes it 1 foot 8. And in this side I would do 1 foot 6 and 2 additional inches, which is 1 foot 8. So using the offset command, I'm going to set that to 1 foot 8 inches. I'm going to offset to the left and to the right. I don't need the middle one anymore. That was basically as a placeholder. Go to the trim command, and I am going to select that and create my opening there. Now, when I place my door, I'm going to choose the midpoint of that jamb and place it on the midpoint of the opening. Now, in this case, it happened to be going inside. Let's see what we are asking for here. That is swinging in. Now, if you notice, in most of South Florida, those doors would be swinging out. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to flip it in this case so that we sort of match what we do here in South Florida. I'm going to select the midpoint, go into here, erase the source object. Now I've got it going in that direction. Let's go ahead and place another opening in here. And I've already placed this opening in here, which I did previously when we were setting it up, so that I could extend the most what I could do with my bay window in here. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to copy this door, which I know is a 3-foot door. Come into here, place that right here. So that is fine for that door. And now I'm going to place one in here. Actually, look what happened. I actually moved it, which was in error. Let's put it back to where it was. Let's place that back into there. I am going to, might have deleted it accidentally. I'm going to copy this door from here down to there, and I'm going to mirror this way and delete the source object. Yeah. Now if you take a look at it, when I was drawing the lines and then trimming, some of the lines extended out beyond here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to isolate my A-wall interior layer, and I'm going to take a look at that condition. Now my settings are in what we call lock and fade. Any of the layers that was not my selected layer is locked and it fades it, but I still doesn't meet the requirement that I want. So I'm going to go ahead and change that setting. I'm going to change it to lay ISO. That is the command. And I'm going to go down here to settings. I'm going to turn it to off. I'm going to hit enter. And let's see what happens when I bring those layers back. And I want to isolate my layer in here. And I hit enter. Now, the only layer that's left on is my A-wall interior layer. And this is the condition I was talking about. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and trim that out. And I'm going to see if I have that condition in a couple of other places. Here I have it right here. I'm going to repeat trim and get that out. I have it right here. I have it in a number of situations. Here, here, here. I'm going to select all of this and go ahead and start trimming out where those need to go. Now the reason that's occurring is because when I had selected my trimming elements, I had also selected the door itself. Well, the door itself acted as part of the trimming, so it ran into a little bit of a problem there. Let's see, I think I've gotten them all down here. I've got one more here, and I think I'm doing pretty good. There we go. Now I'm going to unisolate my other layers and we're back to there. Okay, this time I'm going to go ahead and copy this door from here to midpoint. And once again, I'm going to go ahead and have the door open out in this direction, as opposed to opening in, which is the way that it was on the PDF, which is more designed for a northern home. Let's go ahead and leave it like this. Now, the fact whether it opens in or out is questionable. There are different reasons why you would open it in or you open it out. Could be due because it snows up north and you wouldn't be able to open them out if there was drifting snow. Here in South Florida, you tend to open them out because you don't want it opening in because of hurricane force winds. And there's also reasons of you want to be more inviting by opening them in as opposed to opening them out. So again, it can be a subjective issue as well as a design issue for practical reasons. So now we've got most of these located. We're doing pretty good with that. Let's go ahead and put another 3-foot door that's leading out from here. So I am going to first copy a door, getting ready to put it in there. And I am in A wall exterior, which is where I want to be. And I'm going to start this wall, this opening. I'm going to move this guy down about 8 inches down. Actually, let's move it back up about 4 inches. And I'm going to offset it 3'4" to allow for the 3-foot door plus the jambs on either side. I'm going to go ahead and rotate the door to align it. Do that for a second. Rotate it again to align it with the wall itself, and then I'm going to go ahead and move it from this point to that point. And I've got almost all my doors located. Let's go ahead and let's do the garage door at this point. I want to use a 16-foot door. And I'm going to go ahead and find the midpoint here and draw it to there. Now, unlike these doors, a garage door does not have jambs located in here. So the actual tracks are located on the inside in here. So if you call for a 16-foot door, you do not need to leave the extra 2 inches for the jamb. So I'm going to use a 16-foot door in here. So I'm going to offset 8 feet in each direction. Erase that. Use the trim command here. And I'm going to go ahead and copy the 16-foot door, which is going to be this one right in here. So I'm going to copy. I'm going to select this point as my insertion when I bring it over. And I'm going to place that right there like that. Now there is my 16-foot by 7-foot door located right there. All right. I think what we can start laying in now is going to be our glazing, our windows. As we go around, then we will start placing bathroom fixtures, and then we're going to finish with appliances and some cabinetry work that we want to do in some of the locations. So let's go ahead and start with our glazing. And if we go back to our drawing here, we look like what we have is typically our double windows here are going to be 6 foot wide. We got another 6 foot wide here. Here we got a 3/0 door, a 3/0 window. These are going to be 6. We're going to make that one 6. We'll make that one 3/0. And we're pretty consistent as we go around. So we have a 3/0 in here. We're going to have a 3/0 here. We got 6. We'll figure this one out back here. And we got a couple more located in here. Just going back to it, it looks like I have forgotten one door, which is our 12-foot sliding glass door in here. I'm going to go ahead and once again find the midpoint, not of the wall, but of the distance between the front of my shelves and this wall. So I am going to find the midpoint between there and there, and locate it there. And I'm asking for a 12-foot slider, so I'm going to offset 6 foot 2 to allow for my casings on each side. Delete that. Use the trim command and get those out of the way. And I'm going to go find my 12-0 slider. I think it's this one right in here. And I'm going to go ahead and copy this one and place it right here for our door located. Now let's go ahead and let's start laying out our window. We're going to have a 3-foot window here, 6-foot window here, another 6-foot window here, I think a 3-foot window here, 6 foot, 6 foot. We have some small side lights here that we can use. So let's start with our glazing and see what we need to do. So if we have a 5-foot window, or we have a window that happens to be 6 foot wide, we're going to go ahead and just cut our opening at 6 feet for the exterior. So here where we have our tub, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go to my A-wall exterior because I want to cut the walls. So I'm going to draw a line. I want to find the midpoint between these 2 points, so it's centered. Mid between 2 points. Draw it to there. Offset 3 feet. And I'm going to go ahead, just like I did for the doors, I'm going to trim this out. Now on our exterior doors, we are going to end up with a slab edge visible here. And in this case, we're going to create 2 A-wall sill edges in here. But for now, let's go ahead and let's copy our 6-foot window. It's on an A glazing layer, and place it right here. Let's take a look. We can copy all of these 2. And let's place it from the mid between here and here, and place it to the mid between here and here. And once again, I can trim and get this and this out of the way. Let's go look at our PDF, and we notice that we've got this one already, this one. We're going to put a 3-foot window in here and a 3-foot window at the edge here. Let's go back to our drawing. This time, let's go ahead and draw in here. This one doesn't necessarily need to be in the middle, so I'm going to offset 1'6" in this direction and 1'6" in this direction. Let's try that again. There's an input offset. It's defaulted to 1'6". Go ahead and click that one. Let's erase the middle one. Trim. You can trim before or after you put the window. And let's copy our 3-foot window. So this one is not a double, it's a single, so we're going to use these in here. Let's find out which one is our 3-foot window. Now we could do that here. That happens to be 2'6", so this one's going to be, let's try this again, repeat measure, distance. Maybe this one is our, that's 2'8", so there's our 3'0". We're going to copy it. We'll go from midpoint here to midpoint in there. I'm still on my A-wall exterior layer, so let's go ahead and place this here. I'm going to go ahead and move that one up about 8 inches and then offset it to 3 feet. Now again, using the stretch and a crossing selection, we can always move the exact location of these windows. So I can copy it from my blocks here, or I know I have a 3-foot window in here. I'm going to bring it down here rotate it to align it with, put on my ortho to align it with the wall, and then move it into place. So take it from this point and move it right into place in there. I have a 6-foot window in here. Now I could center it in the room and then create another window here for the bathroom, or I could try to center it in the wall, and let's see how that looks, so that it actually looks centered from the outside. I'm going to go ahead and start with a midpoint in here. And if it comes too close to here, when I offset this 3 feet, I'm going to go ahead and center it in the room instead. So what I'm going to do is use the offset command to 3 feet. And it looks like that's not going to work. So I'm going to go ahead and I am going to stretch this over. I'm going to remove these from the selection. I'm going to stretch it from the midpoint between here and here, and move it to the midpoint between here and here. So I use the stretch with a crossing selection. I then type R to remove these 2 items from the selection. And now it's asked me to specify my midpoint. It's going to be between here and here. And my new point is going to be between, at the midpoint of this and this. And then I can trim. And I'm going to go ahead and copy this from here to here. And then I'm going to go ahead and copy another one to the midpoint in here. So I can actually copy this whole element from the mid between this point and this point, and move it to mid between this point and this point, which should set up in the middle of the room. Then I can trim this out and trim right in there. And that's looking pretty good. Now notice I had already created a layer which was called a slab edge. So when it comes later on, when I go ahead and start laying this out, you're going to see me take that layer and draw one in here, draw one here, wherever we have a step down. Let's go ahead and continue with the windows. Now if you take a look at this, we have this window with 1-foot side lights on each side. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make that part of an entire assembly, so when we tag these doors or window, which means we're going to create a door schedule, a table with them, I'm going to make them part of one tag only. So the windows, the side lights, are actually part of that door. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to find my smallest side light right in here. Let's see what I've got. This might end up being 1'6". That's fine. So that even though this says 1 foot, I'm going to change this to 1'6" side lights. Let's go ahead and go back to there. I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to take this, and I'm going to move that and locate it right there. So that means that this line that I have in here should really be over here, and then I can trim. This out and take that out into there. Then I'm going to go ahead and mirror this mid between these 2 points. Erase source object, no. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to actually move. I made a selection there. I'm going to go ahead and, if I have my move command here, I'm going to move this from that point to that point, and I can trim this and this out of the way from that in there. So now I have an assembly here that's located. So I have my door with the side lights. I think I'm supposed to have a small window in here. Let's take a look. Sure do. And that says it's going to be 2'6". I'm not sure that's going to fit in there, but let's give it a shot. This has another 6'0" window here. This used to have a 6'0" window here, but we're going to move it off to this side in here. So as we work our way around, we've located all these windows here, these windows here. Let's go ahead and let's give ourselves a little bit of a return here. I'm going to move this down 4 inches, and then I'm going to offset, see how much room I got there. I'm going to start by offsetting it, the 2'6" that the drawings ask for, and it looks like I do have plenty of room. In fact, I could probably do my stretch crossing and move this maybe another 4 inches this way. So I'm going to stretch, select this way, and move this 4 inches in this direction. And I think that looks pretty good. I'm going to trim this out, and I'm going to put a 2'6" window right there. First thing I got to do is find out which is the 2'6", and it's going to be a single one. Let's do that one. That's it. Select it. Bring it over to our drawing where we want it. We're going to rotate it to align it with the wall. Turn on my orthos to make sure I stay along the axis. Move that to there. And then what I can do is begin to copy these over to a location right in here. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start a line that is going to be midpoint between here and here. Offset this 3 feet in each direction. Erase that and trim this out. I can copy now this over, then rotate it so it aligns, and let's go from there to this point right in there. And now I can copy this all the way over to there. Now since it's a symmetrical window, I can just copy it over. If not, I would have to mirror it if it was a certain way. So I'm going to copy from here all the way to perpendicular here. And I'm going to use trim command there. That's looking good. This works good all the way around onto there. Now let's go ahead and put a 3-foot window here, a 3-foot window here, and we're going to go ahead and stretch it so that we can align it with the sink. And then we got a couple of more windows back out in here. We're pretty much done with the windows and so on. So I could actually, I've already put in a 3-foot window in here with the side of the walls already trimmed. I'm going to go ahead and bring that over to here, and I'm going to place another one. Take ortho off. I'm going to place this one somewhere up in this area, and then I can trim that out, trim that out, repeat the trim command here, trim this out and trim that out, and I'm going to stretch, use a stretch crossing, bring it down a little bit more, make sure ortho's on so I don't lose where I'm going with that. And I'm going to go ahead and copy a 6-foot window up into where the breakfast area is going to be. I'm going to want this almost like a fixed dimension in here. Let's see what we've got there. The measurement's probably going to be a little bit odd, 10 and 13, 30 seconds. So I'm actually going to stretch it down 1 and 19, 30 seconds. So let's see what the measurement now should be. 1 foot coming down in there, and that works out pretty good to me. Let's go ahead and place windows in here. We're going to place probably the smallest ones that we can. Not sure a 3-foot window will fit in there, but let's copy this one, including the cuts from mid between these 2 points to, actually we can do it right to, we get this off right to the midpoint right in there, and actually that looks pretty good with a 3-foot window. I'm going to go ahead and trim this out to both sides right in there. And I'm going to put a little smaller window in here with about the same amount of return. We'll worry about the return exactly later. So I'm going to go ahead and I think I'm going to try the 2'6". That may be a little too big, but it'll give us a nice amount of daylight. So I'm going to copy it and bring it over to here, and I can already tell that it looks like it's going to fit okay. I'm going to find the center point of this wall. Now I can find it on the outside or I can find it on the inside. I'm going to go ahead and find it on the inside. And here's the way I'm going to do this. So that I get the same amount of return here, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to mirror this line, and I'm going to mirror it around here. Erase source object, no, and that gives me the same return that I have here and here. Now I'm going to bring my window here, and I'm going to place it here first. I'm going to do a little adjusting. I'm going to rotate using the rotate command, with this is my base point, and once again I'm going to go to reference. This is my reference, and this is my new angle. Last thing I'm going to do is move this, and I'm going to move it from that midpoint to the midpoint of the other wall. And then all I need to do is to copy this from that midpoint to this midpoint. That doesn't give me much of a return, but I'll worry about that a little later. Let's go ahead and I can trim this out of the way. And what I could do now is I can just erase this, and I'm going to mirror this entire grouping that I just did. Make sure I get everything in here. And I'm going to mirror it and bring it around this way. Turn on my ortho. Erase source object, no. And I've got all my windows around that bay window. Now, one of the things that I found out is that maybe this is getting a little bit too close to there. So I might want to change that window from a 2'6" to maybe the next size, which might be, that's actually the 2'6". Let's go ahead and let's just put a 2-foot window there. So I'm going to copy that window and bring it over. I'm going to remove this window. I'm going to move this window. I'm going to go through the same process that I did before. There. I'm going to rotate. Now in this case I know I drew those walls at 45, so I could rotate it at 45 degrees. But I'm going to go ahead and use the reference again, using my reference angle here and this angle here, and move this to the midpoint and midpoint. I'm going to move this to from it midpoint to that midpoint, and using the fillet command I'm going to finish this off and fill it there. Go ahead and delete everything on this side so I can just do the same thing. And now I can mirror all of this once again from that midpoint. Turn on ortho, erase source object, no. And right now I've got all my windows located all the way around. Now if you notice, what I've done is I've cut the exterior wall, place the windows, and this in reality you have a window sill that you would be looking down into. That's below our cut line. So I'm going to check my layer properties and see if I have already created what I would call an A wall sill, and I have not. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new layer. I'm going to call it A. That's the discipline. Major group is wall. And theoretically I could have a sill also inside, so I'm not going to give it an exterior or interior designation. Call it sill. I'm going to change the color so it stands out a little bit differently. I'm not sure what color it needs to be, but let's go ahead and choose 43. It's going to be continuous, but it's definitely not going to be as thick as the walls. I'm going to bring it down to 0.15. I'm going to make it the current layer. And what I'm going to do is now I'm going to go ahead and I am going to create line work. That's going to represent the sill for each one of these. Now I'm duplicating my command by going to the space bar, and when I click it twice, I'm able to, I still haven't trimmed that out, so I have to come back and get that one. So let's go back into here. Now it looks like I missed, nope, looks like I got it right. Okay, right there. Let's keep going all the way around. That looks good. Now for this case, I'm going to go ahead and just, since these side lights are probably going to go all the way down, I'm going to do a slab edge there as opposed to a window sill. Good. And let's go ahead and finish this one off by trimming this off first. Make sure we're in the right layer. Go back to the line command. Let this out down to there. There. That looks good. I think I've done most of them. Let's go ahead and now change our to a slab edge, and let's put that a slab edge where it belongs. We're going to do one here. We've already got one there. We're going to repeat one here. This is where we step out to the outdoor deck. We're going to repeat one here from the front door, going down to our front porch. We've done this one in here. We're also going to do one here because we're going to have a step down between the utility room and the garage. The garage is going to be lower than the rest of the house. So I'm going to go ahead and draw a slab edge at that point. Now, let's take a look quickly and see if there's anything missing regarding any of the doors and so on. And we both agreed that, we all agreed that this has a requirement for a 4-foot double bifold door, not unlike that one. But when I looked at my blocks here, I realized that I did not have that. Now these blocks come from Autocad Architecture, which is another program that we had. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and produce a door that is going to be a 4-foot double bifold. First thing I need to do is I would need to open up my Autocad Architecture. So while that is loading up, let's take a look at some of the other things that are left for us to do. And we could be placing some of those items right now while the program opens up. Let's go ahead and let's start placing some of the plumbing fixtures. And if you notice, we've created a layer here called a case counter, and we have some countertops right in here. We're going to lay out our kitchen with that same layer. In the meantime, let's go ahead and copy, and let's start bringing in some of our plumbing fixtures. Now, this is a nice drop-in tub, so I'm going to locate that one and just drop it right here in the middle. Let's go ahead and let's put a toilet in there. So I'm going to use this elongated tub toilet, and I'm going to place one I'm going to place one right here. We talked about rearranging this room a little bit, so I'm going to go ahead and place it right there, and I'm still missing my counter. Now I could use a pedestal sink in here, which would be one of these two, or I can use a short little countertop in here. I'm going to go ahead and change that to a case counter, and I'm going to draw a line from here, come out the 2 feet, and then come across this way. And so there's my toilet in there, and there I'm ready for a sink. I'm going to copy, I'm going to go ahead and use this sink, place it right in there. I'm going to move it out a little bit. Go about there. I'm going to copy it. Place it here. I can rotate this one so it goes in the proper direction. I'm going to move it from here to about here. Then move it over to the side a little bit. Copy it. And let's see. Copy it from here. Move it over to the left here. Let's bring it out a little bit more. And we can be more precise and center these if we have to, but at this point we really don't need to. I'm wondering if we have 1 or 2 in here. Let's take a look. And it looks like they only have 1 located right in there. So let's go back to our drawing. We can copy this one. Let's copy it right from there and bring it right to there. So the rest, I think what we have left in terms of the bathrooms is going to be a couple of items in here. We have another toilet that we want to bring in. Actually, this one's not facing the right way, so let's go ahead and rotate it. I'll put those on, and let's move it from about here, somewhere in there. That looks pretty good. I think I'm going to go ahead and move it just a little bit down. And I'm going to copy it, and I'm going to bring it down and bring it into this bathroom. First thing I want to do is, though, I'm going to have a shower tub combo in here, and I know I have this at 5'6", so I want to find the shower tub combo that's going to be 5'6" long. So I'm going to use that one, and I'm going to locate that in here. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate it 180 degrees. No, I was right the first time. Let's undo and leave it that way. And let's place it from this corner to here. And what we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and, using the A case counter, we can go ahead and draw, if we want to do any type of linen closet, we can just place one in here, about maybe 2 feet deep by about 2.5 feet wide. So now we've got a nice layout in there for a vanity out here and a separate toilet and shower room located right there. So this looks pretty good going around this way. Let's see if our Autocad Architecture has loaded. It has. First thing we're going to do is we're going to open up the drawing. We're going to start a new drawing using a template. We're going to make sure it's an Imperial CTV template. And with that opened up, what we can do is let's go ahead and go to doors, and we're going to go to bifold double. We're going to enter. We're going to place our door here. We're going to check the door to see if it's got the parameters that we have. Now, the first thing I notice is that it does not. These guys right in here are a little bit off. I'm going to go ahead and select it. I'm going to go to Properties and take a look at the size. I want to change that to a 4 foot by 6'8". So I'm going to go ahead and change this to 4 foot wide. And I'm going to make it 6'8". The height doesn't matter because we're really drawing in 2D. But later on when we get into AutoCAD Architecture, you'll see how that works. Now a couple things I also want to change in here. This does not look like it's the right size, and it's definitely not the right width. So I'm going to highlight that. I'm going to right click. I'm going to edit door style. And when that comes up, I'm going to change my frame to 2 wide. And I'm not going to auto adjust. I'm going to change this to 4 wide. And I'm going to do OK. And there is my walls located right in there. I can now clipboard that. I can copy it. I'm going to bring it back into my AutoCAD drawing. I'm going to clipboard, paste it. Now it's got some elements that I don't want in here, so I'm going to go ahead and I am going to modify this. And I'm going to eventually bring it back to my McFatter ACAD blocks. But the first thing that I need to do is I am going to explode it right in here. And I'm going to try to, I think it needs to double explode. I want to get rid of these elements here. And these elements here. Delete. I want to make sure that this is all in the right layer, so I'm going to highlight all of this. It's in the right layer, but it looks like there's some overrides here. Yeah, I'm going to set that to bilayer. The thickness is supposed to be bilayer, and even the line type is supposed to be bilayer. Now once I've created this, then I can create a block out of it. I can clipboard copy. This time I'm going to clipboard, I'm going to paste this block. I got to make sure I'm in the right layer though, so let's make sure I'm in the A door layer, because once you paste it, it's going to end up in whatever layer you have in there. So I'm going to clipboard copy, and then I'm going to clipboard paste as block. And if you notice, if I highlight it, it's going to be the A door. So I've got the door located that I need. I'm going to go ahead and rotate this. Go to F8 here. I'm going to move it, and I'm going to place it, one of them here. And I'm going to go ahead and copy it. Anywhere here, and place my other one in here somewhere, like that. Then I'm going to use the trim command. Actually, I still have not laid out the wall that I want in there. So I'm going to go to A wall interior. We have a line there. We have a line in there. I'm going to hide this object so I don't get that problem with the extra line in there. So I'm going to go ahead and isolate and hide objects. And I'm going to trim this out. I'm going to go to this one. First I'm going to draw my lines. Here and here. I'm going to isolate and hide that object so I get a clean trim. I'm going to right click, isolate, end object isolation, and my doors come back into there. They look pretty good where I've got them located in here. So let's go ahead and let's delete this from in here. And let's see what else we can begin to add that's missing in here. So we've got most of our information here that's located. We have some shelving that we want to include in here. We definitely want shelving in here. So we want some shelving in here. Now, the way that these drawings show it, they show it as both a line that represents a shelf and a rod. We're only going to show it as a shelf, a case hidden. So this is going to mean that it is above our cut line, so we're not going to be seeing it as a solid line. And we'll create a layer for it. Where this is a shelf that we actually do see, in this case it's going to be a shelf above, a case shelf above. And we'll show it as a hidden line. So we've got, I think, most of our things located in here. There are some information here that we're going to want for our shower that we're going to include. So let's start talking about this over in here. Let's start putting a couple of appliances that we want in here. We've got a couple of items in here. We got a washer, we got a dryer, and as far as our other plumbing fixtures, we've got a laundry sink in here. So I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to copy these two and move them over to here. I'm going to rotate all of them sort of around here and place them near our back wall, located right here somewhere. I'm going to move this over a little bit more there, and move this over just a little bit more, and then bring in our laundry tub and place that over here somewhere. Now I'm going to go ahead and pull this down a little bit further close to this, a little further down, and I'm going to move these a little bit further down, which means that I can get a bigger broom closet located in here. So I'm going to go ahead and stretch this broom closet right along here about another maybe 6 inches this way. Now let's make it 8 inches. Now I've got a nicer broom closet, got plenty of room for that. I'm going to go ahead and also stretch my window location here so that it is centered on the tub, on the washer and dryer, and behind it, right into there. So I may want some shelving, wire shelving also up above here as well as in here. So I don't want it to go across the window, so I may only have it inside that closet located there for the broom closet. And this is a pantry, so that might actually be shelving, and this might actually be shelving. So, in fact, for that, I'm going to make this current, and I'm going to go ahead and draw shelving in there. And let's see where else I want to do it inside the pantry. I'm going to draw some shelving right in there for it. And I'm going to go ahead and create that layer that I wanted to. So right now it's on AK shelving. I'm going to create another one. And I'm going to do A dash SH. Let's do SHLF and do wire. Or let's just call it above. Keep it maybe the same color, but we're going to change it to a hidden 2. And the line weight's fine. Let's make it the current layer. Do that. For this one, I'm going to go ahead and create a polyline here and go all the way around to here. Then using the offset command, I'm going to offset 1 foot, go to the inside, and delete the previous one that I had drawn. Let's go ahead and erase the wall instead. I want to delete that. So that is for my walk-in closet. Let's go ahead and lay out some in here, from there to here, for our linen closet. And that one we can actually create it, make it the same layer as this one. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in there. And I'm just going to call it A case shelving. That one's good for that one. Now this is a standard closet, while this may be a storage closet. So I'm going to go ahead and a shelf above, I'm going to create this one. And for this one, I'm going to go ahead and create a shelf above, located there. This is a linen closet, so I can create an A case shelving. And I'm going to put it out here somewhere. And here I'm going to have water heater. I'm going to worry about that one. And this one I'm going to go ahead and create some shelving for it also. So that's looking pretty good, what we've got drawn into there. I'll worry about the shower and this a little bit later. Alright, let's start laying out our kitchen layout. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and go back to a case counter and start laying out my counter work in here. I'm going to use a line and stretch it out to here, and I'm going to move it from here over 2 feet. Then I'm going to go ahead and come out this way. And I'm going to be modifying this later on. I'm going to do this 3 feet. And I'm going to stretch this down just a little bit like that and extend that to here. And draw a line across here. Stretch this a little bit this way. And I'm going to draw a line from here. Make sure it lines up with that. Move this one over 2 feet. And draw a line from here. That lines up with that. I'm going to go ahead and stretch this back out this way to give me whatever I need in here. Now, the plan that they show here shows a kitchen with a double sink, upper cabinetry here, a double oven here, a cooktop here. We can have a dishwasher here, maybe a trash compactor, and a refrigerator located right there. So let's take a look at how we can do some of those items that we want to take a look at. This one is 3 feet as opposed to a 2-foot counter because there's going to be a hidden line in here that represents the edge of the cabinetry below, and then a 1-foot shelf located right there. So we may have to create a layer for a case hidden right in here, which we can also use for the above counters, for the upper cabinetry that we want to put into there. So let's take a look at how we're going to do this right now. As far as the center island is concerned, when you take a look at this, we are typically required to have a certain amount of distance between the front edges of these countertops so that we can walk around comfortably. Right here they've indicated 3'6", 3'6" from this wall, 3'6" from this side, and 3'6" from the edge of the pantry. So let's see what we can do into there. When we go back to here, we know that we're going to have a line somewhere down here. And if I move that the distance that they recommend, which is 3'6", that goes in there. Now I can use the offset command, 3'6", and I can offset this line. I can offset this line, and I can offset this line. And now I can fill it, and I'll change this line to the right layer in a minute. Fill it here, and fill it here. And let's go ahead and let's change that to the A-case counter. And I've got a center island here. I've got a very, very big breakfast room. Right now that's about 9'10", so I could probably stretch this out substantially to do it this way. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stretch here about, let's make sure I get the whole counter here. And I'm going to stretch maybe 12. Let's go back. I'm going to stretch maybe only 10 inches, let's see. And that gives me 9 feet from here to here, which is still substantial. I would prefer a bigger kitchen, and of course I need to stretch this over 10 inches also. That gives me a nicer island. And let's see what the distance is. And I'm not even counting the bay window. The distance from here to here right now is shown at 9 feet. I'm going to go ahead and leave it that, because this way we can have a nice table right in here, and we have room for bar seating located right here. So let's leave it like that for now, and let's start bringing in our appliances. So let's start with what we're going to be bringing in. I'm going to copy. These two can be a trash compactor and a dishwasher. I've got my cooktop. I'm going to want a double refrigerator, and let's use this as our double oven. So let's copy all of these guys over to up here to where we can start placing them. I'm going to start with our refrigerator right here. I'm going to turn it this way, put on my ortho, and I'm going to move it from this corner to this corner. But of course, refrigerators are never right up against the back or the side, so I'm going to place it somewhere right in here. Now I'm still at a case counter, so I'm going to actually draw from this near point somewhere over in here and trim this out. Now I'm going to go ahead and let's put in the double sink. So we've got our double sinks right in here. I'm going to copy this one and bring it over, and I'm going to rotate it again back on and move this sink from somewhere over in here to here. And of course I can now align these up with the sink depending on how much countertop I want on each side. Let's go ahead and let's rotate these two items, and of course they would be on either side of the sink. Let's move this to this point here, and let's move this one to this side over about there. Now what I want to do is I want to leave a little bit of cabinetry on each side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and move this and center it down in here. So I am going to use my stretch crossing selection, and I'm going to remove all these items from my selection, go from midpoint and bring it to about here. Now I can make adjustments later on if it ends up being an oddball fraction, but for for now that looks pretty good. Let's look at the cooktop. I'm going to rotate it this way, and I am going to line it up from there right to the middle, located in there. I'm going to do the same thing with the double oven. I'm going to bring it this way, and I am going to move it from this midpoint to somewhere in there, and that looks pretty good. Now the double oven, if you notice, this goes through it. I'm going to do something very similar to what I did here. Now this would sit on the top, or yeah, this would probably just be a cooktop, while this has some room in here. I think I like that way. But I am going to go ahead and trim the double oven. I'm going to trim the cabinetry or the countertops on each side. So I'm going to trim here. There, those two are my cutting edges. And I'm going to take that out of the way right into there. So that looks pretty good. Now let's take a look at that layer that I talked about before, which was a case counter. I'm going to use a case hidden. So that could represent the upper cabinetry, it could represent lines that are underneath countertop, etc. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new one, and I'm going to call it A-case-HIDD. And I'm going to make that let's go ahead and make that a different color. Let's make it yellow. And instead of continuous, let's make it a hidden 2 layer, and 0.15 is fine. Let's go ahead and highlight that one. I'm going to go and close this out, and I am now going to go ahead and draw a line which would be, if this is 2 feet deep, the upper cabinets might be right there. And I'm going to take that all the way to the end, and in fact I'm going to do some cabinetry. Of course it's going to be shallow, it goes over that located right there. I'm also going to offset this 2 feet, change the layer of that line to A case hidden, and extend it to here. And I got a little bit of an issue because I don't want my cabinetry to go over the window. So what I'm going to do from the edge of the window, I'm going to go here, and from the edge of the window I'm going to go here. But I'm going to move it over a couple of inches so it's not right where the window, because oftentimes we end up casing. So I'm going to go ahead and move it about 3 inches over. Let's undo that. Let's just move it 2 inches over. I'm going to move this about 2 inches this way, and I'm going to move this about 2 inches this way. And then I can use those as trimming elements right here, and kick that into there like that. So that's looking pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and I want to give this a little softer edge. So I'm going to use the fillet command. I'm going to give it a radius of 8. And go ahead and click there and give that a nice little edge radius in here. Now I can go ahead and put my upper cabinetry in here. And I'm going to go from there to there. And that works out pretty good. So this looks like it's shaping up. Let's take a look at what other elements I may have missed at this point. We're still missing a lot of our ceiling, our soffit work on the top. So let's take a look at what we've got that we still need to work on. So we've got a column in here, which is a non-structural column. We've got some ceiling work in here, that's soffit, that we want to do. I think I've got most of everything in here. We got some shelving. It looks like most of this we still have to do the doors and the glass doors for the shower. And we've got some ceiling work in here, and that's telling me to make this 2'6", and this one we want to make 2'0". So let's take a look and see if there was anything else that we need, and I think that actually does it pretty well. So let's go ahead and we can create a layer for our soffit work. So what we can do is we can go to our layer properties, and using a case hidden, let's go ahead and create a layer called A-CLNG- and let's say above. So I think we can keep it that layer in those colors. Let's make it current and close this out. We're in the right layer. Let's go ahead, and I think the way we draw this is we have one line in here. I'm going to take a look one more time to verify a couple of things. So they're coming in about 4 inches off this way, and they're coming right off the edge here, which doesn't look exactly the way we should do it, but let's go ahead and draw it the way that they intended to do it. So this actually needs to be about 4 inches further up, and I've got a line coming off of here. I'm going to fillet that. Now notice it still maintained the fillet that I had here, so I have to remove that. And now when I use the fillet command, I need to go back to radius, give it a value of 0, and then fillet without that. So I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to go ahead and offset 2 feet. Now because this was 4 inches here, I'm not going to get a consistent soffit line that we have all the way around. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to offset 2 feet. Let's just go ahead and do it that way. 2 feet, 2 feet, 2 feet. Let's go ahead and fillet these lines. Fillet. 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 And we'll change these 2 lines to a ceiling above, and let's take a look at how they ended up doing this. They did bring a line coming in off the corners right into there, so that is actually a little bit of a misleading. Let's go from there. Let's the way that is indicated in there. Now let's go ahead and do this one. This one they want it offset 2'6", I think. So let's go from here to here, here to here, here, this way, and I think we've got them all. Let's fill it. Let's fill it here. Fill it. Let's go ahead and change those to the proper layer. We want that a ceiling above. And let's go ahead and let's coffer it. Or as they call it, a tray ceiling. Looks pretty good. Let's double check and see. Let's go to our full location in here. There's a couple things in here with this, with the stairs going up to an attic area above the garage, just for some storage. We've got, I think, most everything. We did make some modifications in here. I think we've got everything located that we wanted in here. We've got the fireplace and the shower still to do, but I think as far as everything else is concerned, I think we've done pretty well. A couple things. So we've got the fireplace type of condition that we want to do. We have the shower, and then we have a water heater here. So let's go ahead and let's finish this up, and let's go ahead and draw the remaining elements that we want. Now, we consider the water heater as an appliance, so we want to be in that layer. So we want to go to P for fixture or A appliance. We're going to go to A appliance. We're going to do a circle right in here, and we're going to draw it right in here, and we're going to do a radius of about 10 inches. And we're going to locate our water heater right inside closet, somewhere like that. And that takes care of our water heater located. Now let's take a look at what we've got. I think we've got curb in here. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do the shower as a plumbing fixture. So I'm going to make this our current layers. So I am going to go ahead and I'm going to draw a small circle in here that's going to represent the drain. And then I'm going to go ahead and go from the corners here, 2 perpendicular, corners here, 2 perpendicular, and finish up. These represents the slopes for the drain. Now, how do we do the door going into the shower? I'm going to go ahead and use this door. I'm going to copy it over to here. Now, this is going to be a glass enclosure, so I'm going to rotate this. And I'm going to rotate it this way at 90 degrees. I'm going to bring it down a little bit closer. And I'm going to explode it. But first I'm going to place it on the wall here. And I'm going to bring it from this edge to about there. So now I'm going to go ahead and explode it. And it's now individual elements. There are certain elements I do not want. I don't want that, and I don't want that located in there. Also, this represents a glass door, so it's way too thick. So I'm going to go ahead and take that, and I'm going to bring it in about an additional inch, and now that's a little bit more than what I want. In addition to that, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to bring it into the middle of my wall, which is about 2 inches into there. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to create a layer for a door shower. Now it's going to be a little bit different, but let's go ahead and with that I'm going to do A, dash door dash shower. And I'm going to change the color. Make it cyan in this case. Continuous and 0.15 is fine. So I'm going to make that the current layer and go into here. Then I'm going to go ahead and just draw a rectangle. That's going to go from here to about here. And I'm going to copy that rectangle so I maintain it the same width from here to here. Stretch it from there to there. And one more thing, I'm just going to move it up just right to the center, so it's going to be about 0.5. And I'm also going to change the door itself to that layer, which is a door shower. Now, I want to change the color of this to be by layer, and then now it's the correct color that I want it to be. So there's my shower. There's all that information that I need. Let's go ahead and let's finish this up with our fireplace located. Now let's take a close look at how they drew this fireplace, because we could draw it a lot of different ways. In fact, you can even download a detail that shows you how that fireplace is. So all they've done is they've come off the corners of the wall in here, come across and back up to that corner, and then created a hearth. So they show this about 4 feet wide. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to verify. I think we have it at 4 feet wide, but I'm going to create a layer, and I'm going to call it A dash F. I'm going to call it fire. And I'm going to go ahead and let's create a different layer for it. Let's just do it any color like that. It's fine, color 44. I'm going to set it, I'm going to check the width. I may want that just a little bit wider. So let's go to about, let's leave it at 15. That's fine for now. Make it current, put it here. And I'm going to go ahead and find my center point here. Locate the center of the fireplace. And I'm going to draw a line that maybe is about 2 feet. Move it from its center point to this center point. I'm going to move it again, previous, out about maybe 3 inches. That may be too much. And I'm going to draw a line from here to here, and a line from here to here. Okay, and then I'm going to create another layer, which is A dash fire dash HRTH for hearth. And I'm going to leave it continuous in 0.15 because I don't want it to be that thick, and I'll just create another layer color for it. Do OK, set as current, close it, and this time I'm going to do it from about the midpoint of this guy. Go out maybe 12 inches for now, come back this way to about the midpoint. Well, let's go ahead and draw another line here. Go 12. Try that again. Line from midpoint, 12 and across. And I've got a very small hearth in there. Let's go ahead and make this a little bit wider. I'm going to go ahead and go 4 inches this way. Let's undo that. That was a little bit too much. Let's go about 2 inches more this way. Fireplace located. I don't think we're missing too much right now, except for the column that we want to draw in here on the corner. Now that is not a structural column. I don't want it to be represented with as thick a line as we would for the walls. So let's select something else as far as the thickness of it is going to be. So I am going to go ahead and under layer properties, I'm going to create a new one. I'm going to call A dash COLN for column. Let's try that CLMN. Let's backspace there. CLMN. And let's do dash INTR for interior. We could theoretically make it the same layer or the same color as the interiors, and let's change the line weight to somewhere in between the two, 0.25. And we can always change that later. Let's make it our current. And let's start with that. And I'm going to draw a box. That is going to be 12, 12. I'm going to go ahead and move it from there to the corner here. And then I'm going to draw a circle from mid between this point and this point, and make it come out about, let's say, 4 inches in this direction. And you know what? I'm going to go ahead and offset my rectangle 1 inch so it's not as big. Offset it the wrong direction. Now I can delete this and this. And I can move this to the corner. And I think I've got everything I need in here. I could theoretically delete all these for now, but I will be using all of these blocks later on when I'm generating my elevation. I'll be using these blocks also when I'm generating site plan info, and who knows, I may decide to change some sizes and so on. And so with that, I think we've pretty well completed our floor plan layout. On the next lesson, what we'll do is we'll start laying out our roof plan and show you how we do that and how we're not using the same elevations that are in the book, but we're going to generate a roof that represents what we call a hip roof situation onto that.